I am talking about traveling through time in a machine constructed for that very purpose.
This time at the trailer park, time is of the essence. And all notions of past, present, and future are turned inside out. So forget your sundial, smash that hourglass, leave your Timex in the sock drawer, and stay tuned for the next 30 minutes, whatever that means, as Trailer Park calls a timeout.
If that machine can do what you say it can, destroy it, George, before it destroys you.
Hi, I'm Tom Davis, and this is Trailer Park, the program that celebrates Hollywood's classic sci-fi coming attractions, or trailers. What time is it? It's all relative, from daylight savings to mountain standard to howdy doody time. You can slice up that time pie into as many pieces as you like. But when it comes to time travel, H.G. Wells' original Victorian short story is a masterpiece. Here is The Time Machine.
Such stories as H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds and Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea have challenged mankind. So today, man is successfully probing deep into the mysteries of the universe. Can he penetrate the greatest mystery of all, time itself? Of George Pal and the fabulous production know-how of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer to catapult you through time into a world that is yet to be.
Why is it that we usually ignore the fourth dimension? You see, we can move in the other three. As the doctor said, up, down, forwards, backwards, sideways. But when it comes to time, we are prisoners.
Inventor Rod Taylor's breakthrough into the realm of the fourth dimension is defied by his friend Alan Young.
If that machine can do what you say it can, destroy it, George, before it destroys you.
Every moment is a year, hurtling through the atomic wars of the future on an incredible excursion into the unknown. What are the people like? Ah, the shape of things to come. It's lovely Yvette Mimieux. And what happens when boy meets girl thousands of years hence?
How do they wear their hair?
Who?
The women of your time.
Up like that?
Show me.
Is this the human race of the future? Or is this the Morlocks, fiendish creatures who live in a weird underground world? And the Eloi, the tranquil sunshine people, who the Morlocks dominate and maintain like cattle, luring them below with the hypnotic wail of the sirens, to feed upon them in cannibalistic horror.
H.G. Wells' concept of time was linear, a progression from A to B and back again like the Victorian mechanical model of the universe. His story took us to the future. But our next trailer only takes us back, way back to the dark days when Homo sapiens were primitive scavengers. And not very attractive.
In 1947, the Byrd expedition to the South Pole reported a warm water oasis deep inside the icy Antarctic. This is the story of another expedition and of what might be found, what might happen today in that remote, unexplored last frontier on Earth. Unchanged since prehistoric times, the land unknown. Could man have survived in the dinosaur age of mighty monsters? Shudder at history's most ferocious killer, Tyrannosaurus Rex. The battle of the great Stegosauri. Huge carnivorous man-eating plants. The incredible water monster, Elasmosaurus.
We'll never get out of here, Alan. Never, never, never.
Stop it, do you hear me? Stop it. This doesn't sound like you. We're not licked yet.
About that. Didn't that take you way back in time like I promised? That time that Len forgot. It's called the 1950s, actually. Well, hang on to your concept of history and evolution real tight, because we're going to come back to shake it to its timbers when Trailer Park continues.
Trailer Park will return in a moment.
Said that time and space were relative. He had not seen this next film or its trailer. Here is the 1960 production of Beyond the Time Barrier.
A crack Air Force test pilot flies the world's newest experimental plane faster than sound. Faster than time itself. Beyond the Time Barrier.
Position 18, speed 10,000 plus. Position 20, airspeed increasing. I think something's wrong.
64 years into the terrifying future. A beautiful, horrible cave world you've never dreamed of. A beautiful girl and love. Mankind was made sterile in a great cosmic plague. A new Adam and Eve are the only male and female left to repopulate the world.
I value my freedom more than this.
So you'll attempt this escape even though we try and stop you?
Yes.
The jealousy of a she-devil frees the bloodthirsty killer slaves.
Follow me, soldiers of revenge. I'll lead you to the captain, to food, to freedom.
The last survivors of the human race are doomed to murder in a killer orgy by vicious subhuman mutants. Will you die 64 years from today? We challenge you to see the most terrifying picture ever made. See the picture of your life or death.
The future was never more enticing than when Woody Allen revealed the secrets of the Orgasmatron in Sleeper. Here's the trailer.
Excuse me, Mr. Allen? Is that your new movie you're working on?
No. I'm a clarinet player in 1973. I go into the hospital for a lousy operation. I wake up 200 years later and I'm Flash Gordon.
What's the name of the film?
The name of the film is Sleeper. Basically, it's an intellectual film. Most of the scenes in it are of a cerebral, almost didactic nature, and there's very little overt comedy in the film.
What type of role do you play?
I play a generally calm, subdued, in control, leading man. It's a dignified role.
Sleeper about?
Sleeper's a highly charged, emotional love story that's tender and romantic.
I hate you! I
Try not to get upset.
It's between myself and Diane Keaton.
I'm Luna. Luna, remember? Luna.
Your name is not Luna, is it? I chose Diane because she's a very beautiful actress. I wanted to make use of the natural qualities in her face. She's kind of graceful, and there's a certain animal intelligence about her that we utilize throughout the film.
It's hard to believe that you haven't had sex for 200 years.
204 if you count my marriage. There's no violence in the film at all. It's a...
Will there be a special price for children?
No, but anyone accompanied by an incoherent person gets in for half price.
Woody Allen and Diane Keaton in Sleeper, a love story about two people who hate each other 200 years in the future.
Well, when we return, we're going to go back to the future, perhaps the most popular time travel movie in history.
Trailer Park will return in a moment.
We now return to Trailer Park.
How far are you going?
About 30 years.
Back to the Future was such a box office hit, it inspired 2 sequels. And here's the trailer for Back to the Future 2, which I believe is the first sequel.
Do you remember the future?
You've got to come back with me.
Where?
Back to the future.
Are we back?
We're back.
What do you mean we're in the future?
October 21st, 2015.
Marty, we're going to be able to see our wedding.
Wow. The future. I gotta check this out, Doc.
Look what happens to your son.
He's a complete wimp.
Don't talk to anyone. You've been looking.
Hey, look!
Don't touch anything.
I need to borrow your hoverboard.
And try not to look at anything. I didn't invent the time machine to win at gambling.
I can't lose.
I invented a time machine to travel through time.
Hey, Doc, I'm all for that. What's wrong with making a few bucks on the side?
Now, the time continuum has been disrupted, creating an alternate 1985.
There have been a few changes.
It's like we're in hell or something.
No, it's Hill Valley, although I can't imagine hell being much worse.
But they'll all be back.
Eat less, slackers!
Biff?
Hello? Hello, anybody home?
Well, that can't be you. You're so big.
Michael J. Fox. Christopher Lloyd. Michael J. Fox.
More like a couple of teenagers, you know?
And Michael J. Fox.
Mom, is that you?
Steven Spielberg presents a Robert Zemeckis film, Back to the Future, Part 2.
Time travel is a potent sci-fi fantasy because inquiring minds want to know what's going to happen next. From magic 8 balls to fortune cookies, we always look for ways to see into the future. But in our next trailer, we have a character who goes way over his expiration date to survive in the land of tomorrow when Trailer Park continues.
Trailer.
We now return to Trailer Park.
Schlachthof 5. This is Schlachthof 5. 5 is English 5. Schlacht is slaughter. Hof is house. Schlachthof 5. Slaughterhouse 5. Your house.
Billy? Billy!
Billy! Billy, Mama's here. The war's over. You can come out now.
The patient was a prisoner of war in Dresden when it was bombed. He claims that well over 100,000 people were burned to death in the fire, worse than Hiroshima. And since Billy was actually there, it's natural enough to assume that this has had a contributing effect on his present condition.
He's ready, Doctor.
You're going to sleep now, Billy. Welcome to the planet Tralfamadore, Mr. President.
And don't give up dreaming, for true love will come smiling through.
See, in Tralfamadore, where I presently dwell, life has no beginning, no middle, and no end.
When we began this show with the brilliance of H.G. Wells, it figured that he'd want the last word on the subject as well. In our next trailer, Wells himself is the character who takes a time trip to modern-day San Francisco in the imaginative Time After Time, a mystery, a chase, and a love story that suggests happy endings are all about being in the right place at the right time.
Gentlemen, I have called you together tonight to bid you farewell.
The time is 1893, and novelist and inventor H.G. Wells makes a startling announcement.
I am talking about traveling through time in a machine constructed for that very purpose.
The first to use the machine, however, is Dr. John Leslie Stevenson, better known to history as Jack the Ripper. And what was to be a voyage of discovery, in an instant, becomes a manhunt through time.
My name is H.G. Wells. I came here in a time machine of my own construction. I'm pursuing Jack the Ripper, who escaped into the future in my machine.
Time after time, a romantic adventure and a relentless chase around the world and across the dimension of time. Time after time.
Time After Time was actually written and directed by Trailer Park's own Nicholas Meyer, who is here to give us his second thoughts on the making of that film.
Contrary to what many people think, I'm not really a sci-fi fan.
Science fiction only interests me to the degree that it can discuss earthly problems, ideas, and emotions in a way that might illumine them by shifting their locus to a time or place where they can be viewed somewhat objectively. Science fiction can be a useful tool for contemplating ourselves as viewed in a sort of distant mirror. Time After Time appealed to me as a movie because, among other things, it enabled us to view ourselves as two parts of the human condition: constructive, as represented by the character of Wells, and destructive, as represented by the character of Jack the Ripper. It also allowed me to show us ourselves from the perspective of a foreigner, whether from the future, as in Star Trek VI, or from the past, as in the case of H.G. Wells. We get to see our civilization, our culture, through the eyes of Wells and also through those of the Ripper, who feels more at home in this violent society than he does in his own. Notwithstanding this essentially bleak subject matter, the film itself was great fun to make. That other Wells, the one who spells his name with 2 E's, said that making movies was the biggest set of electric trains anyone was ever given to play with. I can't remember having such fun before or since, especially not in the daytime.
Anyone who has ever crammed for a final or burned the lamb chops or had an overdue library book knows how slippery time can be. No wonder one of our greatest joys is wasting this precious commodity. And thank you for wasting the last half an hour with us. Until next time, this is Tom Davis reminding you that you'll never know what's coming unless you watch the previews on Trailer Park. Good night.